Welcome back, America. We're here with our friend Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, just a general question to begin with. You have a vast majority of, I think, one or two. And in New York, Elise Stefanik is about to become the ambassador to the United Nations. And it's my understanding that Governor Hochul is trying to do everything she can with the supermajority Democrats in Albany to prevent you from replacing that seat until the next election. Are those rumors correct?
We'll find out soon. There are a lot of hijinks going on in Albany, and we're very concerned about it. They would be disenfranchising, 750,000 New Yorkers who live in that district if they were to keep it open until the fall. They would be doing that, obviously, to try to keep our majority as razor thin as possible. And it's unfair, and it looks like open political corruption, but they seem not to care in New York.
Wow, and I thought they were the party of democracy. I guess I've been misled for half a century. Mr. Speaker, my question to you is this. With the Republicans in the House of Representatives, surely they see the dire situation that we're facing. They see that President Trump is fighting mightily. When it comes to spending, taxing, and the debt, is there pretty much a unification going on within the Republican Party as the various disagreements are being worked out, or is that still a process underway?
Well, it's a long process. Anytime you have, 218 people to contend with all their various ideas and interests, it's a challenge when you have a margin of one or two votes. But we'll get there because, look, I can tell you every single Republican in the House and the Senate have the same objective. We want to deliver on the America First agenda that President Trump campaigned on and that we all campaigned on, and all of its components. The way we get there is it takes a long, deliberative process. Why? Because we want to, for example, extend the Trump-era tax cuts. We have to, Mark, because you and I know if we don't, we'll have the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of this year when all those tax cuts expire. But the challenge we have is that to do that costs about $4.5 trillion. So our deficit hawks and the people who are concerned about the nation's debt, as I am, I'm one of those, we want to make sure that we can do that responsibly and make sure that we bring about a pro-growth economy again. So the details of doing all that is we have a very ambitious legislative agenda. I believe that the one big beautiful bill that the president and I keep talking about, I believe it could be the most consequential piece of legislation in many decades for the country. So to get it right and to get all the various provisions of it correct just takes a lot of time. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And I'm excited about it and very optimistic about the outcome.
Let me ask you a question about the party opposite led by Hakeem Jeffries. It seems like they're always waiting for a platinum invitation to participate in this process. Do they ever knock on the door and say, hey, we have some ideas for cutting spending. Hey, we have some ideas for cutting hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud and waste. Hey, we have a General Accountability Office record here from a few months ago that says $500 billion a year is being wasted. You know, Mr. Speaker, we want to assist you in this effort. Do you ever get a knock on the door that says anything like that?
No, I haven't gotten that knock, Mark, and it's very disappointing. Now, look, I believe that there are some Democrats in the House and the Senate who have the same concern. They must. They have to. Their conscience would tell them that it is wrong to engage in waste, fraud, and abuse at the federal government level. It's something that we should all be fighting against. But they have an allergic knee-jerk reaction, okay, to almost anything that President Trump and Elon Musk and the cabinet members are suggesting. And it becomes an irrational thing. They are flailing about right now. The Democratic Party has no identified leader. They have no vision. Their platform has been soundly rejected by the American people. And they seem to not know what to do. And so what it comes out as is this lashing back against the agenda and what we're doing. Think of it. I mean, Elon Musk and I talked with him Monday of this last week, met with him for an hour in his office. He's in the Secretary of War room, the old Secretary of War room in the Eisenhower building. And we laughed about how appropriate that is because he's declared war on the deep state and the bureaucracy. And you have Democrats now out having rallies to stop him. What is he doing? He's identifying and allowing us to cut out fraud, waste, and abuse. How could they be against that? It's irrational. It's going to work against them, and I think the American people are watching this very closely.
It sounds like they've taken a very firm position for fraud, waste, and abuse. They've taken a very firm position that they don't care that $50 to $100 billion is lost every year in Social Security. They've taken a very firm position. So what? $250 billion, $500 billion is lost every single year. My contention is, Mr. Speaker, because they don't care. Because this funds this government within a government that pushes their ideology, and I think that's what's going on. We'll be right back. Welcome back, America. We're here with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, Democrats have shown a little ankle. They want to shut down the government. Some of them have actually gone on TV. Now they've been pulled back. So it looks like they're trying to lay a trap for you folks, you Republicans in the House and the Senate. It looks like they're trying to lay a trap for Donald Trump. But will this trap work, since they're now outspoken about, if you cut waste, fraud, and abuse, we're going to shut down the government? First of all, that's not only insane, but is that politically wise, and do you think they'll get away with it?
Well, I certainly hope not. They are trying to lay a trap. I mean, some of them are, as you said, they've said it publicly, but shutting the government down would be very irresponsible. And in every other scenario, they always decry that as a terribly irresponsible step to take. But again, they're desperate. They're going to try to do anything they can to stop President Trump and all the efficiencies that we're bringing into government. We're going to continue to negotiate in good faith. We are. Our appropriators have been working around the clock to come up with a top-line number that will get the appropriations done and do it in due course. We have a deadline coming up of March 14th. We're watching it very closely, and we're very hopeful that they don't push us into a CR situation or something else. But we'll see how it develops. There's a lot of game yet to be played. I wish it wasn't a game, Mark. I wish that everybody would come to the table, our Democrat colleagues, and do the right thing. But again, they're grasping at straws right now. They're actually calling for weapons in the streets. They've declared war. They've been having at these rallies saying the most outrageous things. If they would just roll their sleeves up and come to the table and work with us, we could do this in a bipartisan fashion, but that does not seem to be what they're going to do.
And they also seem the F word is a persuasive word out there in America, because they're dropping the F-bomb left and right as they sing their 1930s Union songs in front of these decrepit old bureaucratic buildings that actually don't have too many bureaucrats in there because their supporters are working from home. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Speaker. How is it working with the Senate Republican leadership and so forth? I mean, you got to have a united front in dealing with the Democrats and getting a lot of this through.
Yeah, that's a great question. No daylight between the House and Senate Republicans. The media has been trying to divide us. They've been trying to divide Republicans against themselves in each chamber and then divide the chambers against one another. We're not having any of that. I meet regularly with Leader Thune. He's doing a great job over there with his majority. For the first time in history, Mark, the Senate Republicans have a larger majority than the House Republicans. So we have the greater challenge in our chamber, and they recognize that. There's been a debate about the 1 versus 2 bill strategy and all of that. I don't take any issue with anybody about that. We all have exactly the same mission, the same objective. There are different ideas on how to get there. But I keep telling my Senate colleagues they've got to trust me in the House. We have 165 additional personalities to deal with in our side, and we have a more diverse caucus because we have people from very different parts of the country with very different interests. At the end of the day, we are going to deliver the American First agenda. We are going to deliver on the mandate that the American people gave to President Trump and all of us. And I'm excited about that. I can see it, the light at that end of that tunnel, and we're going to get there in due course.
Now, I want to ask you another question related to Elon Musk. They turn him into this boogeyman. Why do you think they love multi-billionaire George Soros, who has used the various instrumentalities of the government to acquire radio stations, who spends tens of billions of dollars throughout the years, he and his son, to influence our government, to insinuate themselves in governmental decisions, to elect prosecutors who refuse to prosecute and so forth? That's their sugar daddy. That's their guy. But when it comes to Elon Musk, they want him criminally investigated. They believe he doesn't have any role in anything and so forth and so on. Do you see this as complete hypocrisy? Complete hypocrisy.
And what Elon is doing is heroic. You used the word in the opening monologue. Exactly right. This is an heroic effort. He is bringing common sense and transparency and sunlight to the federal government, to the bureaucracy, to what many of us refer to as the deep state. And this is what he and I were talking about just on Monday night at his office. I said, Elon, I am so excited about what you are doing, what you are uncovering. I said, you think of this as a scientist and a data analyst. I think of it as a constitutional law attorney and historian. Elon, what we are going to be able to do through this effort is restore the original intent of the framers of the Constitution. What they had in mind is a small federal government that was closely monitored and had heavy oversight by the duly elected representatives of the people. The challenge we've had here in recent decades is that members of Congress, these representatives, have not been able to do that job well. The oversight job has been hindered because the deep state and the bureaucracy has not turned over the data. They wouldn't give us the information we were seeking. We didn't know all this because it was hidden. Now Elon has cracked the code. He is on the inside of the belly of the beast, Mark, and he is unveiling and revealing all these things that we knew intuitively were happening, but we didn't have the evidence. This is a game changer. It is truly revolutionary. And we're going to restore, ultimately, through this process, the federal government to the original intent of the founders. And that's what has the big government, socialist, liberals, and Democrat Party apoplectic, because they're afraid of what the final result of this is going to be. And it's very exciting for the people.
You're so right. If you love the country, you love the Constitution, you love small R republicanism, you're cheering these guys on. Mr. Speaker, thank you for all you're doing, and God bless you, my friend.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be with you.
We'll be right back.